Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of Exploring Star Trek Discovery. Welcome back, everybody. I am Average Joe, the Average Geek, your intrepid captain for this journey of exploration with my, bridge crew. What's going on, Will Smith, Pat Whitehead? How's it going, fellas?
Going pretty good.
Good. Seems like we already got Michael Smith and PJ's channel in chat. PJ got a beer and a joint, and he's ready to watch the show. We took a week off. It was a needed week off. I feel we'd done like 16 episodes straight of this show, and it was nice to take a little week off. But now we're back, and we're rocking. Like we're going to do our big mid-season report card episode. In this episode, we are going to talk about Discovery. We are going to break it down step by step. Story, characters, canon, music, all that good stuff. And we're going to try to take the fanboy blinders off this week and kind of critique it a little bit and see where we're going to go into the future. So what you think about that, fellas? Sound good?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right. And in chat, feel free to go ahead and get involved. The more involved chat is, the better, I feel. So, yeah, cool deal. All right, so I'm going to start off by saying I was a huge fan of the first half of the season. For me, it hit on all cylinders. Was it perfect? No. Was it very, very good? Absolutely. Are we having the strongest first season of any series of Star Trek? Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Would y'all agree with that? Disagree with that? What do you think?
Yeah, it was a start to the series. A couple of maybe not even a couple episodes, but a couple of instances where I wasn't really too happy. But overall, as a series, it was very strong.
What you think, Pat?
It was a strong start, and I agree with Will. A strong start, rocky towards the middle, but it went you kind of going what, So cliffhangers are always good.
Yeah, that was a hell of a cliffhanger too. That's for sure. That was a cliffhanger for sure. I mean, well, we can look at the first season of, I think, almost like most people's favorite Trek series. The original series had an incredibly strong first season. I mean, that's when we got a lot of the greatest episodes of all time in the first season of the original series. Next Generation's first season, those Ferengi episodes were just, Of course, we all know how much I hate Ferengi. And then with DS9, DS9 had a lot of the Bajoran stuff, a lot of the Bajoran religious stuff that I just kind of skipped those episodes now. Voyager wasn't bad, but we had to deal with Kess and the Kazon a lot. So I definitely feel that Discovery had the strongest first outing of any series to date. Enterprise had a strong first season, I felt. I felt Enterprise was really good as well. A lot of times we kind of gloss over Enterprise, but that's just as important as the other series. I'm curious as to what Chad has to say. What's going on? It's a Small World. Welcome back to the show. What does the chat room feel about the first half of the season of Discovery compared to the first season of the other Trek series? Stronger, weaker? Let us know. Let's see. All right, well, let's just go ahead and start at the top. The story. How would you grade the story so far of Star Trek Discovery? Will, what would you start?
Wow, the story arc. Hold on. Now I'm hearing some feedback. It's kind of hard for me to concentrate. Hold on one second. Let me turn my volume down slightly. As far as the story is concerned, I feel that it's the most probably one of the most deepest story arcs I've seen in any Trek series. And as far as the how it flows, from episode to episode, it's a continuing story arc every time you go, and that's something, of course, that you've never seen in any other Trek series. So it gets deeper every episode. With Michael Burnham's story, of course, being the lead character. But overall, I mean, I would give it an A+, definitely on that one.
How about you, Pat? What do you think? Why would you grade the story so far?
The story, I would give it an A, because you're getting a part of the Star Trek lore that we never got, the Klingon War, how it quote unquote started, and how the Federation reacted. Burnham as a character is to me awesome. It's cool to see that conflict between how you were raised and genetics, her being human, but raised as a Vulcan,
Right.
And her interactions, is kind of reinserting herself into the human race, and how she is doing the other characters like Sternum, how like you said, Stem, excuse me, Stem, excuse me, started as a butthole, a total butthole, and then became like the ultimate friend before spazzing out in the last episode and being useless, or a vegetable, basically.
Right.
Overall, yeah. I definitely give it an A, and I can't wait till in January we just pick up where we left off and see where it goes.
Well, it seems like chat's agreeing with us so far. It's a Small World says it's the strongest first season yet. PJ's channel goes best season of any Trek, but honestly, that's not saying much because the first season of some Trek series has been rough. Let's see. Michael Smith goes story gets an A so far. That's what I would do right now. This story is pretty awesome to me. When the show started and we started to get information out of the show, and they were talking about, it's going to be the Klingon War. I think I was expecting a lot more war than we're getting so far. I was kind of expecting season 4 and 5 of Deep Space Nine, kind of, where that is the main, the war, it's war episode after war episode, and that hasn't been the case, and I'm okay with that. I was kind of expecting a little bit more of that, but that's okay. I'm digging how the show is being told differently than any of the previous Trek series. It's a little jarring at times because we're sitting here back and saying, okay, well, we're not getting the Stamets-centric episode. We're not getting the Lorca-centric episode, or we're not really meeting a lot of members of the bridge crew yet, other than in passing. And that is very different than any Trek series before, where we would have the Harry Kim episode, or the Tom Paris episode, or the Data episode, or the Sulu episode. We're not getting that now. We're getting a story focused around a singular character. And that's allowing it to tell a deeper story, I think, with a little bit more ramification from episode to episode, because we're following these very specific character arcs over time. So I'd give the story aspect of Star Trek Discovery an A as well. Yeah, going into season 2, I want to learn, or the second half of the season, rather, I should say, the second chapter, as they're calling it. I want to see the ramifications of what happened in the finale. Were they able to get that information disseminated to Starfleet about the cloaking system? How is this impacting the war as a whole? Is it turning the tide? Is the Federation able to get that pushback? How close are we to seeing this peace between the Federation and the Klingons? Because we know in just 10 years' time, there are Klingons hanging out in human bars. What's going to drive that change? I want to know. But so, yeah, story so far, definitely getting an A to me. That being said, what aspects of the story did you really like? And what aspects of the story so far are you feeling is lacking? Will.
That's a pretty big question. As far as the story, the main part of the story that I like most is really is pretty much the mystery of Captain Lorca. Like, where does he stand? I mean, he's violated a lot of different directives, and I want to see more about his character and how his character is going to play out in the long run. As far as the worst parts of it, probably more of the technical aspect of it, like more of the ship. I want to know more about Discovery, more about the spore drive. I'm needing that information more, and it seems like it's been very secretive. So,
right, the techie in you needs to know.
I do, yes, definitely.
I can appreciate that. How about you, Pat? What have been the best aspects of the story so far, and what have been the worst aspects of the story so far? And this question is going out to the chat room as well. Definitely want y'all's feedback. What do you think, Pat?
Well, you had said that the show is different because most Trek shows deal with an ensemble cast or the ensemble bridge crew. We find out about each person on the crew. But in this we've only dealt with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 individuals that had a main storyline in some of the episodes. Everyone else had just been sideshow, or
right.
Name dropped, a little bit like small negative information told about, and then poof, you're done. So. I'm doing what you asked in reverse. So that's what I don't like about the show. But at the same time, I like the best. I think the best thing about the show right now is, outside of Burnham being the main star, is Discovery itself. The ship. At first, when you first showed me the ship, I was like, "What the hell is this thing?" It's nothing like I've seen before. I love the whole spore drive, the slips, the whole warping about the ship. I want to, and it kind of goes with Will. I want to, not the spore drive itself, but I want to know more about Discovery.
Right.
What class of Discovery falls in. What other weapons array. Again, falls under that techie side,
Right. Well, we know Discovery is a Crossfield class ship because we've seen the dedication plaque and all that. We know, but other than that, we don't know a whole lot about it. We know it has photon torpedoes fore and aft. It has the I think it's like a Type 9 or Type 10 phaser array on the saucer of the ship, and it's using those pulse cannons as well. Kind of harkening back to the NX-01 era. So we're getting a little bit of information about the ship, but we're not getting a whole lot. We're not getting a lot about how the ship is laid out. Like, we don't know where engineering is in relationship to the bridge section. When we go to engineering, we see the spore navigational array for the spore drive, but we haven't seen
nothing else.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Cochrane warp drive core. Like, does it have what kind of warp core system does it use? I assume it's very similar to the original series kind of, larger kind of engineering section, as opposed to just a singular warp core that we see in Next Generation and beyond. But I want to see it. I want to get a little bit more into it, because I don't feel that this spore drive is going to last forever. Something crazy is going to happen. And it's going to be destroyed, or outlawed or any number of things is going to happen to the spore drive, but it can't last forever. So at some point, I imagine we're going to shift to the Cochrane drive as the primary means of propulsion for the Discovery. And that's going to change the story.
One last thing, the black com badge. What the hell? What's up with those dudes?
Yeah.
That's what I want to.
We've only seen those black com badges in episode 3, and we haven't seen them since. So I'm kind of curious. I want to know more, which again is going to fuel those Section 31 discussions that have kind of died off, but I still feel are incredibly relevant. So, yeah, there's still a lot of things left to talk about in this show that we haven't really touched on yet, and I'm looking forward to getting into those questions in Chapter 2 of Season 1. All right, so yeah, I think the consensus is the story overall gets an A. Yeah, it's small because they say, I assume we learn more as the series progresses beyond this season. Of course, we will. But we're selfish. We want it now. And that's not realistic. It takes... it took 7 years before we finally figured out everything there was to know about the Galaxy class and Next Generation. And 7 years of a TV show and 3 or 4 technical manuals and a couple of computer programs in the 90s. Very rudimentary. The 3D walkthroughs through the ship, those computer programs that we all had in the 90s. It took a while for us to really learn and dissect every single aspect of the Galaxy class ship. I really, really, really want a USS Discovery tech manual. I do. I miss them.
Oh,
Wouldn't it be great? You remember how great it was?
like an old school Haynes manual.
Absolutely. You remember how great it was to get that Next Generation tech manual, and how many times you and I will in school flip through that thing, and we wore our copies out.
Right, definitely.
Wore those copies out. That and the Deep Space Nine tech manual dropped, and I went through 2 different copies of the DS9 tech manual because I wore the binding out. Like, pages started falling out. The binding fell apart. I went through those books so much. I need one for Discovery.
Oh, yeah.
I actually sold one at work today, actually.
See, that makes it good. See, that's the great part about working in a bookstore, is that we get to enlighten people by selling them tech manuals. But yeah, I need a Discovery tech manual. I really, really do. All right, well, so... let's just a natural segue. I was going to talk about characters right now, but now we're talking about tech manuals. So let's just go ahead and go to design. Let's talk about the design of the show. What design aspects of the show are you really, really, really digging? What design aspects of the show are kind of lacking for you? And again, this question goes out to Chad. Pat, let's start with you on this particular question. What do you like about the design of the show? What do you not like about the design of the show?
Okay. Well, the prologue, the Hollywood, let's spin around every character with lights blasting in your face. That annoyed the heck out of me. Well, that's more cinematography than straight design. There's nothing really I don't like about the design of the show. Of everything that's going on the ship. I've gotten used to the uniforms, even though I initially was the first one that said those things are ugly.
I remember. Well, I'm at work one day. I pull up these pictures. I'm like, dude, check out these uniforms, man. He's like, they're stupid looking. I'm like, what? I'm like, they're awesome, man.
Hey man, I'm used to I'm used to Next Gen and DS9 and Voyager. Hell, Enterprise uniforms. I'm used to that. That is a departure from the norm for me. So,
Right.
so
Right.
it took me a minute to get used to them. You know, it's like got to might as well find something I like about them.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
um, so that was getting used to the design, but what I really liked, and I want to see more, is the weapons. I mean, I like the new weapons. Like you showed me the new bat'leth. I was like, holy crap, that's nothing compared to what
It's different.
I'm used to. Yeah, the phaser rifle was cool. You know,
Like, as a guy that has studied swordplay, I hate batleths. They're the dumbest design for a bladed weapon ever. They don't make any sense for a bladed weapon. And I just triggered everyone that watches this episode. But batleths are stupid. They are. There's just a horribly bladed weapon design. They don't make any sense. Like, in order to block, you have to completely turn the weapon away from your center line. And from a martial standpoint, I hate batleths. Just like
hey,
batleth, katana. Katana's gonna win. Like batleth, longsword. Longsword's gonna win. Like it's just. But that's another thing altogether. That's a little aside. Sorry about that. I had to get that
out. Apparently, I triggered you. I'm sorry.
I like my weapons, man. Let's see. We got a little comments in chat. PJ's channel goes, the breath print thing was pretty dumb. Considering the ship can tell who you are anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Like, the ship knows who you are. Like, it knows if Paul Stamets is walking through the engineering door. It knows if Michael Burnham is walking through engineering. It doesn't need a breath print. I mean, at the very least, you could do a thumbprint or a retina scan. The breath print's kind of goofy. He does say the bridge is sexy.
Ooh, that's a new term for a bridge.
Yes, it is. He also says that the sarcophagus ship, or the ship of the dead, which is such a metal name, is really well designed. Yeah. Let's see. It's a Small World goes, as for the appearance of Discovery, it's okay. However, the interior of the ship is nice. Yeah. I'm really digging. Like, I like how the Discovery looks, because Discovery looks like an updated take on Ralph McQuarrie's Phase 2 design. And Ralph McQuarrie has a very utilitarian design aesthetic for all of it. I mean, Ralph McQuarrie designed Star Wars, you know. So the Discovery takes very heavily from that Phase 2 design, but the rotating hubs, or the hub of the hub spore drive, that's really nifty. I think it's a pretty ship. I really do. I think it's a pretty ship. It looks, older than the Constitution class. All things being equal, of course. It looks like an old design. It looks like a design that's kind of halfway between what we would see, with the Shinzo. The Shinzo looks like a natural evolution from the NX-01. So I'm digging the ship design so far. I'm not going to lie though. I'm kind of curious to see how and when we're going to start seeing those more traditional TOS era designs kind of creeping in, because we know they're coming. We know that they've said many times from the very beginning of the show that we're going to start making this progression to what we know in the original series, even a modern day 21st century design of the original series stuff. We can see a lot of the elements already, with the mess hall and the food synthesizers and the switches and knobs on the control panels throughout the ship. So there are a lot of original series things that are really cool. Like, a lot of the sound is original series. But I want to see. I really want to see a Constitution class. Like, if it doesn't have to be the Enterprise, I mean, it could be the USS Constitution, it could be any number of Constitution class vessels out there. But I kind of want to see a Constitution class to give us a design reference. You know what I mean?
So you're saying other than you want to say another ship other than a Discovery that harkens to more current Star Trek, basically, right?
Well, I would like to see a TOS era ship. You know, I would like to see a Constitution class. I like to see a Miranda class. We did see the it's not the Stargazer class, but it's the same whatever class of ship the Stargazer is. We did see that very, very briefly. I want a little frame of reference from original series to Discovery to kind of put a frame on the design. Does that make sense? It's kind of hard to say.
Yeah. My thing about the Discovery is basically I'm trying to place what time frame that's actually, and is that like right, because we know this takes place 10 years before the original series, but how old is the Enterprise compared to Discovery at this time frame? I mean, could this be like an older ship? That's why you see the older technology, and then what you see from Discovery now is newer, quote unquote, technology with all the 3D,
right,
holograms and this and that and the other,
Well, we know from the novel Desperate Hours, which is the first canon Star Trek novel, which is great because it gives us some really great frames of reference. PJ's channel just mentioned this as well. It says the TOS design exists at this time according to the novel Desperate Hours. Yes, because we know Robert April has had his 5-year mission. And we know that Pike is currently 2.5 to 3 years into his 5-year mission. This is about 2 years after the Cage is when Discovery takes place. So I mean, there's Lieutenant Spock, possibly Lieutenant Commander at this point in time, serving on the bridge of the Enterprise right now under Captain Pike. We know from Desperate Hours as well that Starfleet uses a lot of different designs simultaneously, much to the chagrin of the Vulcans. They comment how human taste and understanding is all over the place, how their design aesthetic just ebbs and wanes when whoever's designing their ships. There's no constant in their design. I mean, you look at Vulcan ships. A Vulcan ship is a Vulcan ship is a Vulcan ship. But if you look at a Starfleet vessel, a human-designed vessel, I mean, we have the Walker class, we have the Crossfield class, we have the Constitution class, we have the Daedalus class, we have the Saratoga, we have the Miranda, we have the this, and that.
Pretty much any engineer who designs a ship puts his or her own take on the ship. That's their own stamp.
Exactly. And it's not necessarily what would be dictated by the engineering of the ship. Because other than the nature of the Cochrane warp drive and the 2 nacelles and the kind of saucer section that is, ubiquitous across Starfleet vessels, they change dramatically. So we know
and this will also go for probably the mission patches. You would see it on the Defiant. The Enterprise, of course, has the Delta shield. I don't know what you would call the other shields, whatever. But it seems like that's a constant thing on Discovery, and even in Starfleet, is that basic Delta shield.
Yeah. Yes. Now we do know that again in Desperate Hours, it mentions that there are the design changes across multiple ships. That the Constitution class is using the Gold Command, using the turtlenecks. And stuff like that. They speak to it very, very specifically that those are actually a new uniform design that is specific to Constitution vessels. And they mentioned in the novel how the patches and stuff will change and move throughout, and Starfleet likes to try new things. But the blue uniforms that we see in Discovery with the gold, the bronze, and the silver piping, those are Starfleet standard issue. Like, those are the ones that we're going to go try something new. That's the standard issue uniform
for that time frame. That's the standard. That's the standard uniform.
That's the standard uniform. Yes. Now there are other uniforms that are being used back and forth and all, like we're seeing on the the turtlenecks from the cage and such like that are used on Constitution vessels and a couple of other classes as well. We even in Desperate Hours, it even talks about how the medical uniform on the Constitution class is using the blue. The science and medical have moved to blue, where throughout the rest of Starfleet they're still using that standard white that we see Culber using on the Discovery. Which kind of makes sense for Lorca, because Lorca is that militaristic idea. He's not one. He's an outside of the box thinker, but he's very kind of rigid military in a lot of ways. So it would kind of make sense that he would have his crew use the standard uniform of Starfleet. But I'm kind of curious as to to see how we're gonna start taking these design steps forward. That being said, I'm loving it. I love it. I think everything is gorgeous and wonderful, and in terms of the using the 3D holograms and stuff like that, that's actually an older thing. They're making that transition to just using the view screens. Like the Constitution class vessel doesn't use holograms; they just use view screens. That's been specifically laid out in Desperate Hours. To the point where Pike even expresses some disdain that he doesn't have that option, that in order for him to take a Priority 1 communique, he has to go to his ready room, to his desk, and log in to take that Priority 1 communique. He can't take that communique anywhere else in the ship but his desk. So,
very interesting.
If y'all haven't read Desperate Hours yet, do so. Really good shit. Really good novel. We get some really interesting things about how Starfleet is arranged in this time frame, how the design aspects have changed from this time frame, how powerful the Constitution class vessel was versus how powerful the Walker class, the Shinzo, was. Why the designs are different, how the designs are different. How Starfleet is different in certain aspects from what you would expect. And we get some really, really good, like the second half of the novel is pretty much Michael Burnham and Spock on an away team. Which is really cool because we get a lot of Spock information, we get a lot of Michael Burnham information, we get a lot of Sarek information. It's really nifty. Good book. I recommend everybody reads Desperate Hours. I mean, it's only about that big. The audiobook is 9 hours. Goes by really quick. Very good. The aliens. Let's talk about the aliens design. What do y'all think about the aliens thus far? The ones that we've seen.
Got used to the Klingon. I finally got used to the redesign of the Klingon. What was her name? Lore?
Laurel.
Not Laura. I'm thinking Laura. I'm thinking Data's daughter. All of a sudden, sorry.
That was Lol.
Lol. Yeah. She is a complex. She is a freaking complex character. You don't know where she's going, but you do know she has an overall arching plan.
Whatever the hell that may be.
Yeah, what the hell it may be. Other than that, the rest of the aliens were the aliens that we got to see, have seen so far. Interesting.
PJ's channel says not enough aliens. I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
I want to see some more.
Yeah.
I want to see, and we did get information from the showrunners that moving into next season, we will start seeing Andorians and Tellarites and a lot of the other races that we know of in Trek. They're coming. I mean, we did see an Andorian spacesuit.
Yeah, I think if there's one redesign that needs to take place, is the Tellarites, that pig nose that they have. They really need to redesign that race, that species very well.
Well, they can keep the porcine nature of that race.
Yeah, that nose is going to be there if you see him. So
it needs some refinement. Of course, the refinement that we saw in Enterprise was very good over what we saw in, original series and Next Generation and stuff like that. The way the Tellarites were adjusted for Enterprise was very good.
I kind of tripped out when I first saw him on Enterprise. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the adjustment, but I still laughed at him. So.
Let's see. It's a Small World goes like Saru's makeup. The Klingon design, I just miss hair. I think some of them need hair. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Of course, the Klingon. I don't know if Star Trek's incessant need to rectify canon has muddied the ground so heavy with Klingon design by trying to explain every iteration of the design that they may have shot themselves in the foot. Now it's human augment DNA spliced into Klingons that causes them to look like this, and it was a virus, and it's something we don't like to talk about. Stop trying to explain the design change and just let it be. Because now everybody's like, well, did they cure the human augment, thing that happened in Enterprise? Did they fix that? Is that why they look this way? If that's what happened, then why does it come back? Did they have a resurgence? Did they have a relapse as a society? They've muddied the water.
Well,
I've gotten used to the fact that there are going to be different types of Klingons, but they're all same. They all share the same disdain for Starfleet, and they're all the same regardless if they have hair, if they don't have hair, whether they look human or look like humans or whatnot. They're all the same species, regardless of how you may change it. So that's just my official position on it right now.
I think it kind of has to be. I think it really has to be. The only reason that the Klingons don't look at the original series, okay, what the Klingons looked like then. And I think it's safe to say we can all say that was budgetary constraints. The only reason the transporter exists is because of budget, because they couldn't afford to film a shuttlecraft landing and taking off 15 times an episode. So they created the transformer. The transporter. One of the greatest budget-based designs in science fiction history is the transporter. So then we go into the motion picture. I don't know if y'all have looked at the Klingons in the motion picture anytime soon, but what?
Yeah,
it's not a great design, but it's this steady progression.
No, it's not. That single ridge right down the middle.
Yeah, it's this steady progression of design with the Klingons. Every iteration of the Klingons has changed just a little bit. One of my favorite Klingon designs is the Kelvin timeline.
Why'd you whisper?
I'm not trying not to trigger the Trekkies by referencing the Kelvin timeline.
Hey man, what are you worried about triggering somebody? Just man them take that bullet, dude.
But you see, Will. But I think the design of the Klingons in Into Darkness was very good. It was a new design, and people were completely triggered when that came out as well. Triggered about other things, but that's for another conversation.
Well, I like those Klingons because the first interaction was just sick. As soon as they met him, Klingons went in. No talk. We're gonna kill you. That's it.
Right. PJ Channel goes, Neville Page pretty much confirmed that there's no current explanation for the Klingon design change. It just is. And that's the best way to play it. It's the best way to play it. Because these Klingons in Discovery are scary. And they've been adjusting the makeup here or there as the show progresses to allow the character, the actors inside to emote more, to kind of be a little bit more comfortable and just looks better. I'm
also
cool with it.
individuality.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be explained. And I like it. I think they're cool looking. I think Cole's a badass. The whole blood red streak, that's awesome. Yeah.
The face paint?
Dude, these Klingons are so metal, dude. Like, their armor is like medieval looking, you know, with spikes. And like, dude, they're cool looking.
Kind of Predator-ish.
Yeah, they're cool looking, man. And I love that the females have the jewelry adornments. A lot of them have the jewelry, you know, that go from nose to ear and down. Like that's cool stuff, man. And if we could separate ourselves away from our rigid adherence to canon, I think more people would be accepting of it. And honestly, as the show's progressed, more and more people are kind of coming around to the Klingon design. If you look at a lot of the forums, they're like, the Klingons kind of bothered me to start with, but they're kind of growing on me. And I'm like, I agree with that. I think it's a cool design. I think these Klingons are menacing and terrifying in all the best ways. And I think it serves the story that Discovery is telling very well. So I'm giving design an A.
Interesting.
Damn, that's balls.
As far as the design goes, I'll give it an A minus, just a little tick down from.
That's fair. It's completely fair. A minus is still a great grade.
Why the drop? Yeah, why they drop to an A minus?
Why did it drop to an A minus? My own personal preferences as far as Klingons are concerned. I mean, as far as the way they act is on par, but it's just for me I don't know. Klingon subtitles. I hate reading subtitles a lot of times. But it's just what it is. I mean, it's just my own personal taste for the Klingons. I mean, that's my only reason why it just drops down just like 1/10 of a degree there. So
right. Although,
so you rather hear Klingons speak English straight up, flat out, and with a little bit of Klingon speak kind of thrown in, just with
Of course, Discovery's not doing anything different than any other series has ever done with the Klingons. All right. Whenever it's just Klingons talking to Klingons, they've always spoken Klingon. Always. At least in the movies. You might get some little deference for that in a couple of the TV series. But whenever, you got Kirk and McCoy on the Enterprise and you've got some Klingons trying to blow them out of the sky, the Klingons aren't speaking English. They're speaking Klingon. And it's subtitled. This isn't anything new to Star Trek, but
it's not.
I think what's causing that kind of idea is the amount of time we're spending with the Klingons. So I do get your point. I get it. Just trying to be devil's advocate. But it's always been this way.
True. Yeah. I'm not denying that at all, but it's just the amount that we're getting, with this story arc with the Klingons. It got a little unbearable for me to actually trying to follow the storyline when I'm just reading things when I'm just used to listening.
That's fair.
By listening. So,
what did you think of the introduction of the Universal Translator via the comlink in the mid-season finale? That was cool. The way they edited that, the way they kind of blended it together, that was cool.
Yeah.
So, Pat, what grade would you give the design of Star Trek Discovery currently?
I want to give it an A. I wanted to give it an A, but I said B plus personally. Me personally, like I said, I've gotten used to the design of the Klingons. That was like immediately was when I first the uniforms and meaning when I first saw it. I was like, this is a B. Nope, right off the bat was a B. Once we got the interaction with the Klingons, you got the interaction with all especially the Klingons on the ship of the dead versus other Klingons who didn't see that group as Klingon. It bumped them up. So yeah, I'll stick with a B plus. I mean, that's me.
It seems like It's a Small World in chat agrees with you, Pat. They gave a B plus. They said that they need just a few with hair. The design is beautiful, though. I don't mind the language, and I watch more than that in foreign language with subtitles. Watch movies that are in foreign language with subtitles. And I can read my own language, believe it or not. I can read English. You would think about how I read it off.
I mean, as an anime fan who does nothing but read subtitles all day, I mean, I get it. So
right. It's kind of the nature of the beast. You know, a lot of times with a foreign language, like I don't like dubs. I don't, because you can never replicate the emotion the actor is portraying accurately by having an English dub on top. We see that in anime, we see that in martial arts movies, we see that in foreign movies all the time. That there's always this slight disconnect between what the original actor was portraying and what the dub is portraying. You know, so I would, if I'm watching a foreign language stuff, like even anime, I would rather listen to the acting in the original language and read a subtitle than just have it reacted, dubbed.
You get more context that way when you watch it subbed, but then I have to defend dubs in this. There are some voice actors and there are some companies that do a damn good job in translation. So,
right,
not to get off subject, but
Oh no, yeah, and there's an argument to be made either way. There really is. PJ's channel asked least favorite episodes. Least favorite episode, and I think it might be CV Pacem Parabellum when they were on the away mission to the non-corporeal planet world with the Spire. Only because I feel, not because it was a bad episode per se, but I feel that it was set up for the next two episodes, for the mid-season finale, the two-parter going into the mid-season. Yeah, and that's just, because there wasn't an episode that I didn't like. There were no Spock's brains and warp-10 salamanders in the first half of the season at all. Not even.
I just felt like that episode. Right. I felt like that episode. Yeah, the back end was the setup for the season mid-season finale, but I just felt like that episode was out of place.
Right. I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, I would have to agree with y'all too. That episode was very out of place. I mean, I kind of saw it coming with Saru. I saw it coming from a mile away. You're going to a planet, and you're going to have all your inhibitions taken away from you. I know how you're going to feel. I saw it coming from a mile away. It just wasn't the best episode. But I mean, I can't even say it even like hurts me to even say that's not a good episode, because it really is, but it's just not the best of this first part of the season.
Right. When viewing it within the context of the episodes around it versus the context of Trek as a whole. In the context of Trek as a whole, it was a very good episode. Within the context of the first 9 episodes of Discovery, it was a little lackluster.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, it was to me. It was just like I said, it was. yeah, it was a good Star Trek episode, but then I was like, this is completely, again, out of, not say out of sync, like every episode, like every episode synced with each other. This one just kind of felt like this is like an OVA almost. Like you could, it's like a bonus episode off of a DVD package almost.
Right. And for those in the audience that haven't watched anime and don't know what an OVA is, please explain what an OVA is.
It is basically an extra episode in a series. Sometimes it is sometimes it can be canon, but technically it's literally a throwaway episode.
Gotcha. Let's see. Okay. So we talked about the story. We've talked about the design. Let's talk about the characters. All right. Let's start with the lead of our show, Michael Burnham. Will, what are your thoughts on Michael Burnham?
Definitely a character that has a lot of layers within herself, trying to struggle with that classic "Who am I?" scenario. Am I more human than Vulcan? Sort of like it's the reversal of Spock. Her character is very strong, strong-willed. She knows what she's doing. She was forced with a task that inadvertently started a war, but it's something that she's paying the consequence of her actions. And I think her character is going to progress, and she's going to get the more of the admiration of her crew in later seasons.
Pat, what do you think about Michael Burnham?
Will like stole almost like half of everything I'm about to say, so I'm gonna keep this short. I agree with what he said. She is a very complex and layered individual. She's paying for a mistake, a horrible mistake, but you're seeing signs of redemption throughout the 9 episodes that we've seen. Also, she is learning to be human. You know, more so than Vulcan. She's learning to be human with the interpersonal relationships with the crew of the Discovery.
Absolutely, and she's moving. Not only is she learning how to be human and act human around humans, she's moving beyond a place of self-loathing. Following the prologue episodes 1 and 2, going into episode 3, when she's on that prison ship, you can just feel that she hates herself. She hates everything about herself. She lost all of her self-confidence. She lost everything that it meant to be her, because she was an exceptional Starfleet officer. Learned from widely considered to be the best Starfleet captain, Philippa Georgiou. You know, like Georgiou is considered to be the best captain in Starfleet. And if you get sent to Georgiou to learn, it's because you're expected to be the best of the best. And in a lot of ways, Michael Burnham was. She didn't go through Starfleet Academy. She went through the Vulcan Science Centers. So she skipped Starfleet, skipped the Academy, went directly into Starfleet under the command of Philippa Georgiou. And then in just a few years' time, she was first officer of that ship. Now, obviously, this is when her emotions came into play, and she made a horrible misstep. Of course, I don't think she started the war. I think she's been picked as a scapegoat. Was she completely wrong to mutiny from Georgiou? Absolutely. Was all that an absolute mistake? Absolutely. Did she start the war? No. Takuvma started that war. Takuvma was going to pull the trigger regardless. I feel anyway. So I don't think Michael Burnham started the war. I think she's a scapegoat.
She misinterpreted what Sarah told her, and he told her straight up, "I can tell you how to get past this one threat, the Klingons, but the way that I'm going to tell you this and how it's going to get received to the humans ain't going to work.
Yeah.
You know?
Sir was very clear.
Told her.
He was
Told
very
her
clear.
point blank.
He's like, this will not work. This will probably not work on a human ship. Be careful what you use this information for. And she thought it like a Vulcan. And she didn't think like a human. And she made a huge misstep. But Takuvma started the war. Let's see, It's a Small World goes, Michael is complex and conflicted. I feel for her struggles, especially after reading Desperate Hours. In the book, she blamed herself for her parents' death. Yeah. She's had it rough. Michael Burnham's had it rough. She's definitely a sympathetic character. I'm really hoping that by the end of season 1, her sentence is commuted, and that she doesn't get her lieutenant commander rank back, because that wouldn't be right. But I would like to see her sentence be commuted, and she's given the rank of ensign. So that way she can build a career again. Because at some point in the future, Michael Burnham needs her own command. Because after coming through this struggle, the caliber of captain that she would be top tier. Top tier Starfleet captain.
Well, she would have the wisdom of Shoujo, but the tenacity of Lorca mixed in, basically.
Absolutely.
But at that point, would she? By that point, would she? This is projecting. Would she be Vulcan? Like, she's human, but would the Vulcan teachings and everything, will that still be around in the end? You know what I mean? Or would
Well, logic is very
gone?
important. Logic is
Right.
very important. But like you said, the wisdom of Georgiou, with the confidence, just the complete, unwavering confidence of Lorca, with a hint of Vulcan logic in top of it, that's exactly what Starfleet needs. So I'm really hoping her sentence is commuted and she's given the rank of ensign. And over the next 15 to 20 years, can build herself to the captain's chair. We were talking about Lorca, so let's go to Lorca next. Captain Gabriel Lorca, broken man, wonderful captain, but he's damaged. He's broken. I don't think he's mirror universe. I don't think any of that is true. But I do feel that he has some psychological issues he needs to work through. Does that mean he needs to be stripped of command? No. Because he's the best captain for the Discovery. He absolutely is. Because he is so confident and unwavering that who else would you put in that seat? Of course, we haven't met all of the captains of Starfleet, so that we don't really know. But that's how I feel. I think Lorca's a wonderful captain. I'm definitely Team Lorca. I'm kind of pissed off that he interrupted the spore jump in the mid-season finale. I want to know why he did that. I'm sure it has something to do with his PTSD. That once they get back to Starfleet, everybody, hunky-dory, that he's going to lose command of his ship. So I think that was a fear response to that. But we don't know, and I can't wait to find out.
I mean, go back to the scene where he's sitting in his ready room. He's talking to the Lieutenant Admiral, and he's like, "Hey, when you get back, you're going to get honored, da da da. But you will report to the starbase."
Yeah.
Like, and this is a Vulcan telling you to do it, but the way he was saying it, the way he was telling Lorca, translate it. Bring your ass back to the starbase.
Yeah.
Hey, cool, good job. You took out the ship of the dead. Yay! Thank you. You did the work for us. However, you pissed us off.
Yeah, you disobeyed orders.
Yeah.
Get your ass back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's the same time like all of our favorite captains have disobeyed direct orders from Starfleet. I mean, it's pretty much a mainstay of Star Trek. Starfleet gives you an order.
Well, yeah.
You go F that. I mean, can we talk about the Enterprise and Wolf 359, or not Wolf 359, but the battle for Sector 001 when the Borg cube invaded Earth? The Enterprise was like, "Oh no, we don't need you." The Starfleet was like, "No, Enterprise, we can't trust you because of your interaction with the Borg." And Picard was like, "We're going to violate orders. If you don't want to, that's fine. I will take notes of that in our log." And Data goes, "I think I speak for everyone when I say, sir, to hell with our orders."
Yeah. Classic line.
Absolutely. We see a lot in Trek.
Well, yeah, Picard disobeyed orders. Cisco disobeyed orders multiple times. I mean,
Janeway. Janeway was under specific orders to leave the Borg alone after they made contact through the wormholes with the Alpha Quadrant. They finally made contact with the Alpha Quadrant at the end of season 6. And they were told very specifically, leave the Borg alone, get your ass home. And Janeway's like, you know what? Screw you. And she destroys the Borg.
Yeah.
Because as far as we know in canon, Janeway destroyed the Borg. Like, we don't have any further canon stories after that point to know what happened. Yeah, James Alden goes, Kirk stole the Enterprise from Space Dock and blew it up.
Right?
So disobeying Starfleet orders doesn't make you a bad Starfleet captain. Mutineering does make you
demoted the captain very quick.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with Lorca. Let's see. It's a small world, grows. Lorca is smart and manipulative. He needs counseling to deal with his issues. He's a different captain, but I like him. Yeah, agreed. He's incredibly smart. He knows exactly how to get his way, which is a trait of command. I mean,
well, it's simple. I run this. No, you're wrong.
No, yeah. you see this. You see this in the workplace. You see this in the military. You see this everywhere you go. One of the traits of a leader is being able to manipulate your crew to get your goals achieved. Hell, Pat, you and I do it all the time at work.
Yeah,
it's the nature of command. It really is. I look at the kids at work and I'll say one thing to get them to do this, and they'll hopefully get the picture and get it done. It's the burden of command. Yeah, and I think Lorca's a wonderful captain.
He is going to pay.
Oh yeah,
a hell of a price.
Yeah.
When
absolutely,
wherever they are, he gets back. It's going to be real.
Absolutely. Now he's got some things to. I mean, a wonderful captain or not. PJ Shadow goes, is Lorca from another reality? I don't think so. Is Ash really Volk? Yes, I think so. I really do. And I think that whole scene, okay.
What'd you do to me?
Time to make another aside, okay? Everybody freaked out when Tilly said fuck, right? Everybody freaked out.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody cared that we had a full nudity sex scene. Nobody cared. I mean, I don't care, but it's just like, wait a minute. People are so weird.
Yeah.
I don't understand our species at times. I really don't.
Right.
Okay, back to the topic.
We are tricked. We are like, hell yeah 1 minute, and we're triggered the next. We are triggered.
Oh, 2017 is so weird.
The year of the trigger.
2017 has been a really weird year. It just strange year. All right, that being said, all right, so let's talk about since PJ's channel brought it up. Is Ash Tyler Volk? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Will?
I believe so, yes.
All right. Let's do a little poll in chat. Yes or no? Is Ash Tyler Volk? I bet we're going to get just yes. Clicking through in chat right now. And I think the scene from the mid-season finale of Volk Ash Tyler and Laurel is a kind of a portmanteau, a blending of memories. His implanted memories, his false memories of being a human being, mixing in with his memories of his relationship with Laurel as Volk and his physical transformation by the hands of the House of Mokai. That's what I think that was. So,
man, cosmetic surgery in the Star Trek universe is the shit, man.
Well, this is something that we now apparently it's an excruciating process. But look at Voyager, look at Deep Space Nine, when they would make these alterations in the bone structure, and they'll turn somebody into a Bajoran, or they'll change the bone structure of somebody's face using surgery for infiltration. We saw it several times in Voyager. We saw it. We've seen that before.
Troy as a Romulan, I believe, a couple of episodes.
Troy's a Romulan.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I really think he is. And it seems that It's a Small World agrees. PJ's channel agrees. That, yeah, Ash Tyler is Volk. PJ's channel goes that the nostrils, the eyes, and the mouth match. Well, here's another hint from production. I can't remember the guy's name that plays Ash Tyler, but he is listed for 15 episodes of Star Trek Discovery.
Really? Yeah.
He shows up in episode 4. So what about those first 3 episodes? So what about those first 3 episodes? He's in 15 episodes, and he shows up in episode 4. Well, that means he had to have been in episodes 1, 2, and 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Might not. I mean, that's not proof. It's circumstantial. But when you add that to the other list of evidence, I think he is. And I think that's going to be one hell of a betrayal. Because as war veterans that have suffered loss, Lorca and Ash Tyler have become very close with one another.
Ooh, so, it's gonna be bad, bro. If that reveal goes through, holy crap, man. Just nuclear bombs are gonna be going off.
Mm-hmm.
The only way that doesn't happen is
okay. PJ's channel has it said PJ says Shazad's real last name is Iqbal. Iqbal is credited as Volk. Well, there you go.
Spoiler alert. Sorry.
And I got quiet. I'm like,
I think it's
Somebody did their research.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Trek is good. Does that surprise you?
Hell yeah.
Okay, but plot hole. Okay? We've seen the medical scan of Ash Tyler in sickbay of the Discovery, and he's human. So, how sophisticated of a change can the House of Mokai perform? Who knows, right?
It was a brain swap.
We don't know.
It was a brain swap. found a human, don't goes brain into it. Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, total brain swap.
We don't know. Because remember,
the rest of the physicality is human.
L'Rell told Voq, all right, go to the House of Mokai, and there you can change. And Voq goes, well, what am I going to have to give up? And she says, everything. How much more can you give away than your physical identity? So, well, guys, we've been running for an hour and 15 minutes now. This episode has run long. There's a lot to digest in this. We may have to have a part 2 next week. We might have to talk. We might have to talk a little bit more. Or let's do a little poll in chat, because next week I want to start going through our favorite Star Trek episodes of any series. Whatever our favorite Star Trek episodes are, watch them. Let's talk about them and stuff like that, and kind of go through, up until Discovery returns. But let's ask our audience real quick, because they're the ones that matter here, not us. Because we'll talk about anything. We don't care. So, audience, do y'all want us to continue this discussion next week, or would y'all like to go through our favorite Star Trek episodes next week? Let's see what chat has to say. PJ goes for more discussion of Discovery. Let's see if we get a few more votes in here right now. Because I still think that we're only scratching the surface of what we've seen so far in this first half of the season. Man, there's so much to digest. Like, we haven't talked about Stamets. We haven't really talked about the mycelium network and the spore drive. We haven't talked about. We haven't really talked about the war yet. I kind of feel like we have to have a part 2.
Part 2.
Man, let's see. There's so much. PJ Shadow goes, yesterday's Enterprise and Measures of the Man are the best favorite episodes. Man. All right. So here's what we're going to do. All right. Here's what we're going to do. I'll go ahead and make an executive decision. Captain speaking. We're going to continue next week with a part 2 of this discussion, because we have a lot more to talk about. The week after that, we're going to begin our favorite episodes discussion. And at the end of next week's episode, we'll get some of the suggestions from the audience. And then we'll watch those episodes and we'll discuss. How's that sound? We'll do both, PJ Shadow. We will do both. Don't worry. We've still got several weeks to go before Discovery returns. Because I want to talk about the best episodes of Star Trek, and then I want to revisit the worst episodes of Star Trek. Like, I will sit down and watch a Ferengi episode.
Nog.
We can sit down and we can watch the Warp 10 Salamanders episode. we could do a little Spock's brain. Because it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
I don't know if I want to go through that torture, dude. Come on, man.
Oh, yes, we do, because it's going to be amazing. You know it. Yeah. So, so we will next week. We'll figure out what episodes we're going to watch. We're going to share that with the audience. What episodes we're going to watch with the audience, so the audience can watch those episodes as well, and then we can just kind of talk about Trek and just be Trekkies for a little while as we're waiting for Discovery to return. So, once again, everybody watching right now, and our dude, it's the same episode, guys, every week. You guys in chat, thank you so much. Y'all are here every week, and it's great. It makes us feel like we're bringing something to the Trekkie community, that our show has value. We don't get as many views as like Trek Yards and stuff like that, but I don't care about that. I like having this little discussion show. I like speaking with you guys every week. So thank you very much for watching. Final thoughts on our first part 1 of the mid-season report card episode. Will, final thoughts, sir?
Final thoughts. Like you said, we barely scratched the surface on everything that we've discussed before. I mean, we went from an episode to episode basis, but I mean, it's, oh my gosh, there's so much that we have to discuss. Especially my personal favorite, Tilly. We'll get more into that next week.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for, but yeah, I really think that it's the way that we're doing discussions, it's going to be amazing, man, in later episodes. I mean, as far as season, as far as the way our episodes are going now, it's going to be great. Great, perfect. Love it.
Yeah. Pat, final thoughts, sir.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. We barely scratched the surface about the show. We talked. We went all technical. We went theoretical. We went off the rails.
Yep.
But
sorry, I get triggered, man. I got to talk about things like Batleths suck and people are weird.
Well, like I said, it's the year of the trigger, dude. So what the hell? But yeah, overall the show's been great, and part 2 is gonna be greater. You know, I can't wait to talk about when Tilly goes, "Fuck yeah," and Stamens goes, "You're right, fuck yeah." So yeah.
Oh, this is so fucking cool. And I'm sorry if they was like, "No, Cadet, it is fucking cool," because it is, and that's okay. So, once again, thank you all very much for watching. We will be back next week with part 2 of this discussion. And then next week, we will get your official nominations for the best episodes of Star Trek, and we'll pick a handful, and we'll talk about them the week after that.
You want to do it? You want to do like a top 5?
Top 3, top 5, whatever's natural. Whatever's natural. We'll figure that out when the time comes.
Like top 3 with us in the chat.
Top 3.
And see.
Yeah.
Top 3 between us in the chat and see what similarly. How close we are to each other, basically. Yeah.
Perfect. And then we'll watch the episodes and we'll have some fun there. So once again, thank you all very much for watching. If you liked this video, you liked our discussion, please give this video a thumbs up. That really, really helps the channel out. It helps us, appease the almighty YouTube algorithm, which is
down to the tube, bro.
The algorithm is brutal, and your thumbs up really, really help. Share this video with your friends. That really helps us out too. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, because subscribing is awesome. Yes. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I am Average Joe, the Average Geek. Speaking for my wonderful bridge crew and good friends, Will Smith, Pat Whitehead. Appreciate it, guys. And to chat, as always, Live long and prosper.
Hashtag Trekkie Parts, yo.
Hashtag Trekkie Parts.
Tracky part.